Good morning, guys. As you remember from last week, and as you finished it up on Tuesday from Activity 71, you guys were able to read through Tyler's science notebook and kind of suggest how he could improve his investigation that he was conducting. Remember, he was trying to investigate the length and direction of a shady spot on a tree and how and why that was changing length and direction throughout certain times of the day and also certain points of the year. Well, you guys are going to have your opportunity to kind of follow along with an investigation. I will be conducting a lab for you guys today, and you guys will follow along with what I do, and you guys will kind of write procedures based on what you observe from the lab that I conduct. Instead of using the shady spot or the shadow of a tree, we are going to be using the shadow of a stick or dowel rod. So lab materials that you would need: just a small stick, dowel rod. I have a base, keeps the stick stable. Pencil, pen, marker, a compass, and just a plain sheet of paper. I'm getting ready to go outside right now to conduct our first observation, so stay tuned. And that's our first observation. Alright, so not only are we just drawing a line to represent the shadow, we're going to measure the length and also put the time of day and direction at which we recorded that shadow. So the length is about 4 inches. I'm just using a black marker so you guys can see it better. So 4 inches. And the direction is northwest. And we recorded that at 11:50 a.m. And that's our first observation. So we're about to record our second observation. This is about 20 minutes later, so it's like 10 after 12 right about now. So here we go. And there's our second observation. For our second observation, our shadow did change direction and length a little bit. So we recorded this at about 10 after 12, so about 20 minutes after our first observation. It measures in at 3 1/4 inches. Still direction northwest. And the time was, again, 10 after 12. And that's our second observation. Okay, so here we are. Again, it's about 45 minutes later, waited a little bit longer. More drastic change in our observation. So here is our third observation. And there you have it. So it's about 2 o'clock coming outside. As you can see, if you can see that shadow, pretty big change from our first 3 observations. And here we go for our 4th observation. Okay, so on our 3rd observation, again, just going over it with the black marker so you guys can see it a little bit better. Came in at 2 1/2 inches. Still moving more north, but still northwest. And again, that was about at 1 o'clock. And there's your 3rd observation. Okay, so here's our 4th observation. If you guys can see that, a little bit later in the day, about an hour later, 2 o'clock. We went from northwest to northeast. Measures in at 2 3/4 inches. And that is your 4th observation. Here we are. It's about 3 o'clock, a little bit after, taking our 5th and final observation. And there you go. Alright, so we're back and we're finishing up our lab from Activity 72. Fifth and final observation here. Again, just using the black marker so you guys can better see. It was 2.5 inches coming from the northeast, so the direction has changed significantly from the start, and that was again at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that is your fifth and final observation. So as you can see, these are our 5 observations, and from the start to the end, not only has the length changed, starting with 4 inches, ending with 2.5, but also the direction from northwest to northeast. And as you can see, we started at 11:50 a.m. and our last observation was at 3 o'clock p.m. Okay, so take some time, look over these observations, hope these help, and that is the end of our lab for Activity 72.